Okay guys, you asked for it, so you get it. Here is a short official Don Rosa Facebook page hands-on video with the first volume of Fantagraphics Don Rosa library. This is called Walt Disney, Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck, The Son of the Sun, the Don Rosa library volume 1. It's out in stores now, and yeah, so let's just have a quick look at the book itself. Starts with a title page as usual. And here we have a Don Rosa signature. I'm actually not sure why they used a somewhat sloppy handwritten signature instead of the stylized, designed version Don has for such purposes, but if they want to. And here on the title page we can see actually the title page drawing Don did for the European Don Rosa collection by Egmont, so that's a nice little gimmick they added to that American edition. Table of contents, preface by Don himself, with some background information as usual, and then it starts with the stories themselves. So as you can already see here, they used recreated versions of the original title or cover pages. I'm actually not so sure what I should think about it. I'm not the biggest fan of it because it looks just recreated and not like the original version. So the new coloring is okay, but I'm not sure it makes sense to, you know, add this Uncle Scrooge title to make it look like it was the original cover, while it's actually a newly colored version. So they should have probably just used the drawing without the title so that it's clear that it's a newly colored and remastered version instead of a facsimile of the old original cover that other editions mostly used. But it's the same style that the old Boom, the unauthorized Boom edition that didn't actually mention Don's name, used with these new colors. And yeah, the colors are okay, but I guess some people would have preferred to have facsimiles or versions of the original print instead of this a bit Photoshop looking new coloring, but whatever. And yeah, but now to the more important stuff, which is the stories. And as you can already see here, it's a pretty neat coloring that is a mixture of the original American coloring and the coloring that Egmont used for the Don Rosa collection. But of course, for American readers it only makes sense to have the coins in Uncle Scrooge's money bin shown in their original silver color and some copper pennies instead of the sprinkles of gold that they have in the European Don Rosa collection, because the coins have been gold mostly in Europe over the last decades. So that was a compromise that the Egmont edition had, that the coins were sprinkled with some gold herein. So yeah, the biggest bunch, the biggest part of the book is the stories themselves, as you might have already thought. And then we have some behind-the-scenes texts by Don, which are basically the commentary texts that he has already used in the European editions, like in the Hall of Fame collection or now in the Don Rosa collection, but most of them haven't been seen in the US before and in their original English, so that's pretty nice for English native speakers who are now able to read these comments for the very first time, actually. Personally, I kind of would have preferred to have the commentary text and stuff printed right after the story so that you can read right away what the intentions were and so on, but Fantagraphics decided to put them all together at the end, which is a decision that can be made. It's okay, but I think it might be easier to read and more interesting if it's right after a story. But of course I can also understand if somebody thinks that it's more fun to have all the stories in one part and not just have them broken, the reading flow broken by some comments in between. So yeah. Then what follows after the behind the scenes, the commentary texts, are the covers from that time period. This is what I was talking about with the recreated art, because the originals looked a bit different, but the coloring is okay, so. And then we have at the end another nice little feature that was originally printed in the deluxe Don Rosa collection book set here in Europe, which is Don's mini autobiography text with some nice photos from his youth and so on, where he writes about his life with comics and how he got into comics and so on. And yeah, that's it. Well, all in all, it's a pretty nice edition, I have to say. While I don't agree with all choices they made in terms of design, as I mentioned, the text in the back and the newly colored covers, it's otherwise pretty neat and also a good value for the price. It's officially $29.99, $29.99 dollars, but you can get it if you buy it in Europe on Amazon. It's about 22 euros, so that's okay for such a nice, and it's pretty big actually, book. But we'll be talking about that in a minute. And yeah, but it's pretty sturdy. The printing quality is very good, so you don't have any pixelated art, and the color reproduction is nice. And the paper is, what is it? It's somewhere between offset paper and matte art paper, and it feels nice. So if you've been waiting a lifetime for this, this is your chance to get all of Don's stories in their original English for the very first time. But now I guess some of you are interested in how this new library by Fantagraphics compares to other international editions, at least size-wise. So let's take a look at some original editions. So this is the very first Don Rosa album series that was ever printed. It's the Don Rosa album series by Gladstone, and so this is basically pretty much the exact same size that this new edition has. So if you liked this size, you'll be pretty happy with the new size. Now let's see how it compares to the other Fantagraphics book. So as you can see here, this is the Karl Barks book, and it's somewhat smaller. Not significantly, but it surely makes Don's detailed art look nicer to have this somewhat larger format here. Also another album series. This is the German album series, also one of the first album series to collect the Don stories, the very old one from the 90s. This is also basically the exact same size here. Then what else have we got? The German version of the Hall of Fame books, and this is, as you can see here, this is significantly smaller than the Fantagraphics library. So if you have this edition in German and you always wanted to read Don stories in their original, this is a really good chance because they are much bigger printed and of course with their original texts. Also there's some editions that are smaller, like this Uncle Scrooge Adventures album from Gemstone that is in a typical US issue format. So this is also smaller, so if you only have the single issue prints, this will also be a nice addition to your collection. Let's compare this for our French friends. So this is the newest collected edition from Clénat, Integral Don Rosa. And yeah, it's also somewhat smaller. And the old French edition, which is basically the same height, but a little less wide. For our Scandinavian friends, this is the size of the... It's not a Don Rosa book, actually, it's Harald Mythun, but I didn't have a original Scandinavian Don Rosa Hall of Fame, so let's just use this as a stand-in. And so this is the size of the Scandinavian Hall of Fame books, and it's also a little bit smaller. But now, probably the most interesting size comparison is with the Deluxe European Don Rosa Collection book set, and this is actually a little bit bigger than the Fantagraphics book. So if we put this right next to each other, you can see this is about, what is it, maybe 2 centimeters in height and maybe 1 centimeter in width, so yeah. But in general, if you've been, if you're fan from one of the countries that didn't have the Don Rosa collection book set, and you've been sad that you couldn't read Don's stories, now is your chance to have them in a really nice edition that's almost as big as the European version, and with not all the extras from the deluxe Don Rosa collection book set, but with some more extras than in the European Hall of Fame edition. So yeah, it's a pretty nice compromise, and especially if you want to read the original English version of Don's stories for the first time ever in a collected format, then there's absolutely no way around getting this Fantagraphics book set, because this is the ultimate English edition so far. Yeah, well, that's it. And if you have some more questions about the book, then just write them in the comments below this YouTube video or below the post on the Don Rosa Facebook page, and I'll get back to you with some answers, hopefully. Well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more news on the Don Rosa Facebook page in the future.